Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. So, if you were with us for our last explainer, implementing integrated controls, you know we've been super busy. We've been forging these really pristine, distinct gears, our owner, access control, and pausable modules. But today is where the fun actually begins. We're going to take those individual gears and finally assemble the whole machine. The focus for this explainer is testing and hardening integration.
Here's the blueprint for today's stress test. First, we'll watch the machine come together. Then, we'll set up the lab, followed by my absolute favorite part, breaking things on purpose. After we completely trash it, we'll fix the cracks, and finally, make sure we're actually ready for deployment. Let's jump right in.
Part 1. The machine comes together.
Okay, so we've got our perfectly functioning owner, access control, and pausable modules. They're great on their own, right? But composing them into one single interconnected system, that changes absolutely everything. Up until now, we've relied heavily on unit testing. Think of it like a car. Unit testing is like checking if the steering wheel spins smoothly while you're just sitting parked in your driveway. Integration testing, on the other hand, is checking if turning that wheel actually makes the tires turn when you're doing 70 out on the highway. Because let's be real, a steering wheel that doesn't talk to the tires is totally useless.
Moving on to Part 2. Setting up the lab.
Look, before we go anywhere near a live mainnet where, mistakes literally cost real money, we absolutely need a controlled local environment. So here are your assembly instructions to outfit this lab. Step 1, you just need to confirm your compiled artifacts actually exist in your directory. Sounds basic, but check it. Step 2, install your test dependencies. We're talking things like Hardhat, Chai, and Ethers for our local runner. And Step 3, go ahead and create a brand new integration test file, plus a blank debug report markdown file. Just think of those as your official clipboards for the day.
So, what exactly is an integration test? Simply put, it's a targeted test that validates the composed behavior wherever your different system modules intersect and interact. Honestly, this specific type of test acts like a massive magnifying glass. It reveals these terrifying little gaps, stuff like a sneaky roll escalation path or maybe a pause resume race condition, the kind of stuff your isolated unit tests are completely blind to.
All right, Part 3, the best part. Breaking things on purpose.
Normally, in these explainers, we really emphasize building robust, unbreakable systems. But right now, our primary goal is to intentionally act like the villain and try to completely wreck this machine. Consider this test matrix as our engineering schematic for pure chaos. We're outlining exactly what behaviors we expect our system to enforce when it's under serious duress. For example, let's say an owner assigns a role by calling grant role. The invariant, the absolute non-negotiable truth that must hold is that only the owner succeeds. Or take a look at the pausing scenarios. If a role is paused, that exact same action must revert. Period. We are basically mapping out the precise boundaries of our access controls. But hold on, what about the edge cases? I want to introduce you to a mischievous little gremlin of a scenario, transferring ownership to the zero address. Yeah, if your code isn't properly hardened, handing the keys over to a zero address means you might just be giving the literal void, or a default state, full admin privileges. It's basically the equivalent of dropping the master key to your bank vault straight into a black hole and just crossing your fingers that nobody finds it. No thanks. So, when our tests inevitably fail, and remember, we actually want them to fail today, how do we triage the mess? First things first, capture the stack trace. Second, check that failing revert message. Now, if that message just says error or something super generic, you've got to update your contract immediately to emit specific, clear diagnostics. Finally, record the root cause. Without crystal clear error messages, trying to debug a composed smart contract is literally like trying to find a needle in a haystack in the pitch dark while wearing oven mitts. It's just not going to happen.
Which brings us to Part 4. Fixing the cracks. Okay, we've done our damage, and we've successfully found the stress fractures. So ask yourself this. What do we actually do when the machine breaks? Well, after a catastrophic failure, we don't just panic, and we definitely don't rewrite the entire codebase from scratch. Instead, we methodically document what happened, and then we apply precise, tiny patches.
This is exactly where our documentation comes in. Take a look at the anatomy of this debug report. Every single time a test fails, you need to record the test name, the expected versus actual behavior, the exact revert message, your proposed minimal fix, and any remaining hardening tasks. This document, it's not just busy work, I promise. It is your official, non-negotiable safety check before you even think about final deployment. Once you have your report all filled out, you follow this fix cycle. Step 1, apply a narrow, scoped check. For example,
Maybe you just add a simple line requiring that the new owner is not the 0 address. Step 2. Rerun only that failing test. Step 3. Verify your mitigation actually worked. And Step 4. Run the full regression suite. Guys, that last step is absolutely vital. You have to prove that your shiny new fix didn't accidentally jam up any of the other gears spinning in the engine room.
And finally, Part 5, Ready for Deployment.
Once you've cycled through testing, breaking, and fixing, your fully green test suite and that completed debug report become your ultimate proof of readiness. Because if there's one core philosophy for this whole explainer, it's understanding the difference between passing in isolation versus passing in composition. Just because your access control gear spins perfectly all by itself on the desk, that does absolutely nothing to guarantee it's going to survive the intense pressure of the engine room when it's actually wired into all the other logic.
I really want to leave you with this golden rule of smart contract security. Write it down if you have to. Fail early with explicit revert messages, so triage is fast. Seriously, if your contract is going to crash because of some permission error, it needs to scream exactly why it crashed immediately. Clear, explicit errors are going to save you and your entire team hours and hours of agonizing debugging.
Let's quickly summarize our core takeaways as you prepare for your final capstone assembly. First, always test module composition, not just isolation. Second, make sure your system fails early with explicit reverts. Third, when you're fixing bugs, always prefer minimal, highly targeted fixes. No sweeping rewrites, okay? And lastly, always validate those fixes with full regression tests to make sure the rest of the machine is still humming along perfectly.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought. Are your integration tests committed? And is your debug report truly finalized? Because in the world of Web 3, hoping for the best just isn't a strategy. Rigorous testing is. If you're ready to master this and dive deeper into building rock-solid decentralized systems, be sure to visit forge.college to explore this subject and tons of other incredible Web 3 topics. Thanks for hanging out with me on The Explainer today, and keep building.